Yeah.
We're live. I've been away on holiday. We did a load of LinkedIn lives before I went away, and now I'm back. And this afternoon, I'm going to be talking to Nadia Jay from the Friday Collective, and I'm just waiting. What I'm doing, what I do every single time, is wait until I know that I'm live. There you go. LinkedIn is telling me I'm live, so I'm going to bring that up on screen. If you're watching, if you could do me the favour of letting us know in the comments that you can see us, that would be amazing. If you've got any questions, I'm going to bring Nadia on in a minute, but if you've got any questions about social media, what's new in social media, about what the metaverse might mean for you, and about what the Friday Collective does, then just ask away. I'll be talking to Nadia a lot this afternoon. Thank you to Alex J for letting us know that we are live. I'm just going to do this bit so I can bring people's comments up on screen. There you go. Alex, you always come up as private user. I know you know that. I know that we've talked about it before, but now I know we're live. I'm going to talk to Nadia, and I'm going to bring Nadia up on screen. Hello, it's lovely to talk to you.
Hello. How are you?
I'm really well. Tell us a little bit about who you are, Nadia. For the people who are watching who might not know you already, yeah, let us know who you are.
I'm Nadia back here, and I am with a software and automation house called Friday Collective. We are currently based in Oxfordshire in different parts of the UK. We specialize in bespoke software, business processes, portals, MVPs, SaaS, VR development, basically anything your business desires to better it.
And
Pretty much.
that's, I mean, that's quite a lot of techie stuff for a lot of people to take in straight away with things which I get, but with things like SaaS and apps and things like that. I mean, Nadia and I have had a meeting already today talking about the app that Friday Collective are developing for Connect, my network in the background. When people get an app or a SaaS application or something like that, what does it, when you say to improve their business, what does it tend to mean to their business? What sort of things can this sort of thing do for a business?
I mean, just improve collaboration between, a client and a customer, or whoever. Sorry, the business and the customer. Maybe it's like a sort of portal where both parties can upload documents and collaborate on things, or some automation processes to speed things up, to work more efficiently. It could be app development where you can manage your community. It could be bespoke CRM to help your business function better. So anything that makes life easier, more efficient. And that's really the way technology is going these days, is to just improve how we work to work smarter, basically.
Yeah, I think when most people think about an app, I've managed to put my phone on flight mode or something like that whilst we've been talking. So I'm going to have to play with that in a second. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm doing stuff down here to make all of this work, which is relevant because
That's
when people think about an app, they tend to think about things that you have on your phones to do stuff. But
it.
as we've been talking about earlier on this afternoon, it's the bits that happen in the background to join everything up. The bits that very often the public don't see. They see the front end of an app. It's all of that other stuff that goes on in the background which can actually make a business work. We've looked at a piece of software today which you folk have developed for us, which can literally run my business in the background, and yet what the members will see, what the users will see, is this sort of shiny front end app of it. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? With a lot of this stuff, it's what's going on in the background at least as much as what the punters can see at the front end.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of work goes on in the background. And, I don't think people realize the research and the infrastructure building, everything that goes into the background. again, it depends on the kind of application that you have and the software that you have. But yes, a lot of work goes into the background. Yeah.
When you and I talk, we often talk about social media, and I know that you've got a ton of knowledge. I very often talk about the sort of blue sky stuff, why people should do this, but then I come to you to tell me about the how to, all of the changes that are happening in various social media channels and platforms at the moment. And
Yeah.
from what I can see, you must keep yourself sort of furiously up to date on all that stuff.
I mean, it helps when you're really interested in it. It's definitely something that I enjoy learning about. It's something I've done for a long time while I've worked with different brands and companies in this area. So
Yeah.
um yeah, I guess it's something that I really enjoy, and and that makes it a lot easier. But there's so many updates with social and with the platforms, and it's literally like every day there's updates. They are competing against each other in their own ways. And as a business, it's just so important that you keep up with these updates. And obviously, you know, I'm part of your Connect group, and I'm happy to bring those updates and stuff to the group, and I hope that they can benefit from them. I want to keep updated for our own business so we stay current. Because if you don't keep up, you can fall behind really quickly. So, and with keeping up with updates, it's just going to benefit your business. So it is
Yeah,
important.
I think that's important to know. When I first got into Twitter in 2008, when I first started getting into social media, and rewind 10 years before that, when I first learned about the web and email and things like that, a lot of businesses sniffed at it, laughed at it a little bit, that this would be just something temporary. And I think there's a lot of businesses who think that they've got Twitter, they've got LinkedIn, they don't really want to accept that there are changes going on out there and new platforms coming out all the time, and changes to the platforms that are already there. LinkedIn and Instagram particularly have changed almost unrecognizably since they first came out. Why do you think it's important for a business to keep so up to date on this stuff?
I mean, going back to kind of what you said there, is it important? Not every platform will be important to your business. It's up to you to kind of figure out what platform benefits your business, and if you have an audience there. Because if you don't, it's not always worth your time, being invested in a platform where your audience doesn't exist, kind of thing. So with that said, it's just important to keep up with things, because there's lots of opportunities to market yourself and build your community, and and grow your business if you with certain updates. So if you are if you keep in touch with all those changes, it will really, really benefit your business.
Yeah, I'm just going to pop something up on the screen for a second. So I keep having to remember which screen I'm looking at, which I'm being rubbish at this afternoon. I'm talking to Nadia from Friday Collective. If you've got, and this is where you'll find Nadia, this is where you'll find Nadia on LinkedIn. If you're not already connected with her and you're enjoying what we're saying this afternoon, please do go and connect with Nadia. This is her LinkedIn profile here. And we'll talk about this in a second, but you've got an update to LinkedIn profiles which I haven't got yet, Nadia. If people aren't connected with you, go and connect with Nadia. This is where you'll find her. If you're watching or listening to this and you've got any questions about social media or where all of this stuff is going, what people are describing as the metaverse going forward, if you've got any questions about changes, how private communities should work for you, how apps should work for you, private communities is going to be a big one. Please ask away. I'm pointing down, but no one can see me. Let's bring me back on. There you go. Ask away in the comments, and we'll bring your questions up live and answer them as we go. If you're liking what we've got to say this afternoon, ask away, and we'll do our best to answer them this afternoon. What what I found back in the day was that the businesses, and I guess first time round when the first incarnation of the web came out, I was an estate agent. Businesses that were ignoring what was going on in technology were quickly left behind,
Yeah.
because estate agents started getting websites at the time. Estate agents started using cloud software actually quite a long time ago, and people were being left behind by that.
Yeah.
Then fast forward 10 years to sort of 2007, and a lot of businesses, because I was stuck into networking then, a lot of businesses were sort of sniffing at social media. Twitter was a bit of a joke with some businesses, and actually, I can't imagine a business doing without social media now. And then we jump into the next step, which people are describing as Web 3.0. And with
Mhm.
all of these changes going on, which seem to me to be leading us towards that,
Mhm.
it strikes me that it's just as important for businesses to keep up on that, because if they're not keeping up on it, their competitors might well be. And I think that's something that you bring to the party, Nadia, just letting people know what's going on out there. I can't bring the changes to LinkedIn up on screen yet because I haven't got them. You have, but I know there's been some changes to LinkedIn recently.
Yeah, I mean, just a very minor change in the last week or so, and that's just being able to add a website link to your profile.
Right.
You can kind of do that in the contact info, but here it will be like visible instantly on your profile, and you can customize how the link appears. So, but you've got to be in creator mode to do that. I don't know if you've got that enabled. And it's not fully rolled out to everyone. But
No,
it's just a chance for you to, you know, bring people to your site and um, just potentially, you know, meet a bigger audience.
no, you've got it before me, which is devastating. And I've had creator mode turned on for ages. So I was hope when you showed me this afternoon, I was really hoping to get it. If you've got any questions about any of this, pop them in the comments below. Tell me a little bit, if you don't mind, about the Friday Collective, the organisation that you're part of, because you talked about it a little bit earlier on, the sort of things that you do, but you are quite spread out, aren't you? You're not a bunch of folks who turn up to one office in one particular part of the country. You really are living this laptop lifestyle, connected world in the way that you folk are working together as well.
Yeah, we're fully remote, and yeah, we've got developers in Spain, Holland, different parts of the UK. Um, and yeah, that works well for us. And you know, everything we build and do is cloud based, so it makes it really easy. Um, and that's very much the how we build our products. You know, for complete efficiency, um, to be accessed anywhere on any device. That's very much how we work. You know.
And that's, I mean, I did a yeah, showing off for a second. I did a podcast with BT 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, about going mobile first. And at that point, some businesses, even some businesses who were in on the podcast with me, were a bit skeptical about whether mobile first was the way to go. But that was before any of us had heard the word pandemic. That was when working from home was a euphemism for not actually going to work. But now all of that's become such a thing, this ability to stay connected wherever you are, that's just become normal. It's sort of become expected for all of us. The fact that
Mhm.
me up here in Whitney, you folk in Henley, and Dean over in South Wales could just jump into a meeting this morning at a moment's notice, that's what the world is going to look like going forward, isn't it? And the stuff that you do at Friday Collective in the background, that makes all of that sort of thing possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to add to that is, you know, we're developing some VR workspaces, so we will all be able to meet, you know, it with more of a not just you know on a Zoom call. We'll all be able to meet in a room, anywhere. Like we could do a we could climb a mountain together. We could like do something really cool. You know, that's what kind of VR facilitates. And we're creating those workspaces. So and you know, there's a lot of companies already doing that. They're working in VR environments, you know, like Gymshark and Meta. They already host their team meetings and stuff together, all in a VR environment. So it's great that we can all meet on Zoom or a Meet or whatever. But soon, you know, there'll be a real shift towards meeting in virtual workspaces, which is cool.
I'm getting a couple of comments from people. Well, Sharon actually say I think we might have some glitches on the broadcast. I think we're going to plow on because I'm looking at it. You were frozen a little bit earlier, but everything seems to be working all right now. So I'm gonna crack on with that a little bit, but that was just distracting me for a second. What when I've mentioned the word a couple of times,
Yeah,
and I I respect you as someone who knows about the metaverse. You at least know what it is. I know that much because it's a word that's being thrown about a lot. And for anyone who follows Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, it's a word that's out there a lot at the moment.
yeah,
What
yeah.
what actually is the metaverse? What does it actually mean to a normal person? You've talked about VR. Is it all about VR? What about for those of us who don't have VR headsets? What is the metaverse going to look like for sort of normal people and normal businesses?
Um, so I am by no means an expert, but you know, it's a very complicated concept, and it is hard for people to understand. And but I'm pretty sure as time goes on, we will get more accustomed to it, and it will definitely become easier to understand. But it is basically a virtual space, and if you think about different companies, it's different companies within the metaverse, or think of them as like planets. You know, they're all these different companies in this big virtual space. So I hope that kind of there's a lot of confusion over, are there multiple metaverses? You know, how does it work, whatever. But it's just basically a big virtual space. It's an unlimited space, and
And it
but you can actually go in and you can buy and rent a space if you wish, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and I've talked
Mhm.
to a lot of people about. And I think it's a bit like the first incarnation of the World Wide Web, getting people to understand. Well,
Yes.
I, the very first time I called my grandfather from my car phone,
Mhm.
my grandfather's question, which I remember really vividly, is what's the range? How far away from me can you still call me? And I had to
Mhm.
sort of explain to him how car phones worked, and it didn't matter where I was in the country and so on. In
Mhm.
terms of and then in terms of the internet, people were struggling to understand how they could click on links and that sort of thing in the first incarnation of it.
Yeah.
In terms of the metaverse, I think what I'm struggling to understand is how this does all weave together. You've talked about the sort of different companies being different planets and that sort of thing, but in the virtual world, there's no physical distance between the planets as such. It's possible for people
Yeah.
to visit just different parts of the metaverse whenever they want to,
Yeah, and you should be able to visit, like, go from one place to another very easily.
just
Yes.
by clicking on a link in.
Yeah, whatever that, you know, whatever process that company or planet, we'll call it, has in place for you to go from one place to another. And that's something we're actually working on. Friday Collective, we're also working on a sort of games arcade where there'll be different portals to visit other places. So yeah, it's really cool. It's very exciting.
I'm just going to ask Sharon, who I know is watching us constantly, and
Yeah.
Gordon, who's very kindly made the comment as well. Thank you. I've messed about with a couple of things at this end. Sharon, Gordon, anyone else who's watching, from what I can see on the monitor that I'm looking at, our connection is better than it was. Is that what you're getting as well? Let me know in the comments, because they're the only messages I'm looking at right now, Sharon. So let me know in the comments if the connection is okay. It doesn't particularly matter, because Nadia and I will carry on talking, and we're going to come back in a couple of weeks anyway and talk again. But Sharon, Gordon, anyone else who's out there, is it looking a little bit better now? I think that's very much what I'd like you to answer. But if it is working better and you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below, and we'll answer them as well. Whenever I look down at here, I'm checking the monitor to make sure that we're still moving, because we did freeze 4 or 5 minutes ago, but it feels like we're still moving now. So where were we? We were talking about the metaverse.
Mhm.
People are, because the other thing that Gary Vaynerchuk particularly is throwing around, he's talking about NFTs. But as far as I can tell, for most businesses, NFTs don't feel to me like they will be relevant unless you're particularly creating art or music or something like that. Am I basically right in understanding that, or have I got that completely wrong?
I mean, you don't need to be particularly skilled in art or anything, because I mean, you just need to have the right sort of rendering software that will create an NFT for you. But NFTs can be anything really. They can be items of clothing for when you're in the metaverse. They can be collectibles. They can be whatever. They can be absolutely anything. It's not, there's a real focus on NFTs being just artwork right now, and Gary Vaynerchuk made like $90 million on his first drop. I think he's like,
As if he
uh,
needed the money.
yeah, yeah. He's very much involved in it, as you know, as I know as well. But yeah, no, they can be anything really. And there's I heard a great description of it, of how it's a really difficult kind of concept to understand. And one recently that I heard was like, think about an NFT as your gym card. You get given this, you pay for your membership, you get given your gym card, but you don't own that gym. You just have access to that gym with your gym card. So if you kind of think of the gym card as your NFT, it gives you access, it allows you in, that kind of thing. It's got some limited availability or whatever, but yeah, if you think about it that way. But it's just really hard to grasp right now, because metaverse and everything that's being done with it, it's all so new. Even
Yeah.
Meta themselves it's still very much in development. They're looking for developers, they're plowing all their resources and all their funding into developing it. It's very new still. And so it's just really hard for us to kind of grasp. But I think, as you said, in web one was hard for us to grasp. And as time goes on, and as more companies and people become more involved in it, and we see more content based on it, we'll start to understand it more. And as a business owner, you'll probably think to yourself, well, actually, here's how I can make money on this. I could buy space. You can put up billboards in your space. You can allow people to advertise on your billboards. You can make money from that. You can buy property. You can host events. Like you can, have services, and it's a whole new world to kind of to capitalize on. It's just that we're not really. It's still very new. So I think as time goes on, it will become easier to understand and see where your place as a business owner is in the metaverse.
I am being told by Alex Jay, who I think you know pretty well, that our connection is a lot more stable than it was. I'm really sorry if you were watching at the beginning and it wasn't. I'm talking to Nadia from Friday Collective. If you're not connected with Nadia already, this is where to find her. If you're watching this on replay and you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. If you're watching it live with us, pop your questions in the comments below. From the monitor that I can see, what Alex is telling me as well, it looks like everything's working perfectly now. So with what you were just saying, I mean, obviously for me, I started thinking about networking. So we've gone pretty swiftly from face to face networking being the thing to all of us, broadly speaking, are networking on Zoom now. Other platforms exist. Some of the other platforms are wonderful, but everyone's networking virtually now, as well as drifting back to face. There will come a point, I imagine, in the next 2 or 3 years where someone will grab the metaverse in the networking space so that instead of just being on Zoom, I'll be able to meet people in a really much more meaningful way using the metaverse. Am I overthinking that, or is that likely to be a thing, do you
No,
think?
that actually exists already. If you
Really?
go to Eventbrite, there are actually networking events in virtual meet spaces already there. You go on there, you get your ticket, and you just have to download some software that would allow you to visit either with a headset or without a headset. So yeah, no, you're not thinking crazy there. That's already, yeah, as you just have to see them on Eventbrite.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that they were on. Maybe I should have known. I didn't know that they were on Eventbrite. So I will go and check that out. I think something I'm going to do. You've talked a lot recently about private spaces. That's something that you've mentioned quite a lot.
Yeah.
What private spaces and private communities? So we're familiar with LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, where what we talk about is broadly speaking public for everyone to see, sometimes everyone who's following us, but quite often everyone in the world. You're quite we've then seen, sorry, the sort of evolution for that, particularly with people who are younger than me, for whom their stories on Instagram, Snapchat, particularly, are quite often limited to a select group of people. I know at least one of my sons puts stories out there, but only for selected groups of people, not for everyone.
Yeah.
You're quite a big advocate, or you're quite convinced that a lot of the world is going to start drifting towards private communities, maybe not instead of, but as well as the very public communities we're used to being part of on Facebook and LinkedIn. You think that's very definitely something that business is moving towards.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, um, years ago, before we realized what was going to happen with our privacy and our data and everything, we were very open about things, and we posted on walls. And if you go back and look at your Facebook post from like 10 years ago, there's a cringe moment, or it's like, oh my god, or it's funny to read about how open we were. You're posting on there and you're saying to your friend, I'm going out here the weekend, do you want to come, kind of thing. Completely open to people. And then over the years, we've seen how our data has been managed and how the big how they're handling things. And we've realized that privacy is a big issue. And um, I think that was kind of scary. And so I think there's just a big shift from people in general to keep things private and really choose who they share their information with. There's been some backlash against Meta and whatever, and people are moving towards Telegram and Discord and different channels. Um, Another thing is that we're inundated with content like every day from so many different sources and channels. And if you're interested in a certain topic or subject, I think personally, I think that we're just more selective about the content that we consume. And if we're in a sort of private community, we can choose to be in that private community and just see the content that we actually want to see, and communicate and engage with people that we actually want to. Another thing is that you know brands are realizing that the gold really is when you engage with your community. So brands used to just speak to their audience with very little engagement. you know you might never see you might comment on a post and you'd never get a response or anything. But nowadays, we're becoming more community and engagement focused, and there's a big shift in companies and brands talking to their audience and generating conversation. And we're seeing that in, as I said, Twitter is a conversation based platform, as well as, Discord and Reddit and stuff. So definitely there's a big shift in how, me personally, and I think people are choosing to consume and engage with content, as well as companies and brands.
I mean, you and I have talked about this a lot in the background, as well as Alex, who is watching us this afternoon. By the way, if you've got any questions about this, pop them in the comments below. We'll answer. I'm gonna bring this up on screen, Nadia. I'm gonna do this live. I've got my phone screen here in front of me, but you and the team, you, Alex, Dean, and the rest of the team, rather than me. I've only been watching from a side. We've been building a private community for my private community, actually, haven't we? Do you reckon this is the mic drop moment? Shall I bring it up on screen now and actually show people? Let's
Oh,
do
wow.
that. So we've been building. I haven't. I've done nothing in the building of this. Doing this without a safety net, but the team at Friday Collective have been building a private community for Connect, the private community that the private mentoring and networking community that I run, and it's looking fabulous. I've seen this today. I've seen this version of it for the first time today, but it is all working. So a lot of the stuff that we currently talk about, we've already got a private LinkedIn group, a private WhatsApp group, but we're going to look at actually bringing some of that chat, some of that conversation here,
Yeah.
with the intention, and this is certainly my intention, that just like when I run face-to-face mentoring sessions, that this will be a place of trust where everyone can bring up the subjects that they want. So, we've got the invited members only group at the bottom, where people can bring up conversations, can talk to us about stuff in a completely private space, rather than all of that information going to, well, Microsoft or Meta, I guess. And is this the sort of thing that you're talking about with private spaces just like this?
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you use Telegram or you use Reddit or Discord or whatever, it is private to an extent, but that platform owns your data, and you can't really manage your community properly. You might just belong to a thread, or you might have a thread, or you might be a moderator or something like that. But the data is not really ever yours. You've no control over the branding or how it looks or anything. It's limited. But with your mobile app, your own app, you got full control over how it looks, what it does, your branding. You can set the groups, you can start the conversations. There's just so much more control over, and you're creating a really private space for you and your community. So it is different. Yeah.
I mean, you saw it here first, folks. We've literally had a meeting an hour before Nadia and I went live to actually talk about this, but that sort of starts to round up the conversation, because that's what a private community looks like. That's moving towards that incarnation of the internet, and that is also the sort of thing that Friday Collective build in the background. The bits that I'm not going to show you are incredible, because the bits that actually run the back end of this, so that I can perform all of the admin that I need to do with the members of Connect, that we can collect payments from people, that we can pause memberships and upgrade memberships and that sort of thing. That's all built into the back of this. I'm not going to, but that's what people see at the front end. That sort of thing genuinely gets me excited, because you've built a piece of software upon which we can very much run the business,
Mm-hmm.
but then we can digest that, we can use that in a way that everyone's become familiar with an app on our phones. I think that's incredible about all of that stuff. That that's where everything joins up, isn't it? Because that's where we can introduce some of this new and exciting stuff in the future, like virtual networking. by bringing everyone together in that private space, by being linked up with all of the software that enables that in the background.
Yeah, definitely. It's a solution that works for your community, but also works for you as the owner of that community, so you can manage your payments and all your admin, and that's just as important. So you can manage, you want to manage your business effectively, and your community is a big part of your business. So all these things in the back end just facilitate that. That's really important, that it works for you as the business owner.
It is, because it's the organisation and the admin behind it that enables a lot of the engagement to happen, that enables me to know when members are getting in touch with me about stuff, that enables me to make sure that I'm replying to people. I think, like, just before we go this afternoon, I'll bring it up again, but I've been introducing people to your LinkedIn profile during the course of the afternoon. If people want to connect with you, Nadia, where is the best place for them to go? Where would you like people to connect with you? Where would they? Where do you put out all of your content and so on?
Uh, well, I tend to put out different kind of content on different platforms. That's a personal choice. That's another conversation. But LinkedIn is fine. Yeah, LinkedIn is good, and I've got a links. As per the new LinkedIn update, I've got links on there, so you can actually find me on different platforms. But LinkedIn is fine. Thank you.
You've posted that somewhere, haven't you? Let me just find out where
Yes,
you've.
um, latest post.
I'm going to go and find it. I'm going to go and find it now and bring it up on the screen for people, because I found it really interesting. Not least because I can't do it. But yeah, you've got this on your LinkedIn profile for people who've got it to say, "Here's my links."
Yeah. Well, it was to kind of show you how you can add your links to your profile, and yeah, it's just there. If you've got creator mode, you should be in it. You should be able to do it. If you haven't, I'd say it will come in the next few weeks.
I've got creator mode and I can't do it yet, so I'm obviously further. I bet it's just alphabetic.
Could be.
I'm winding myself up here, but I'm just further on in the alphabet than you.
Could be.
I have really enjoyed talking to you. I think we've had a couple of technical glitches, if I'm honest, so that makes it even more important that we come back and do this again. I think we're going to drag Alex along next time, aren't we, to come and have a freeway conversation with us?
Yeah, get Dean in there as well.
Have a
Two of
four-way
our,
conversation.
yeah, very talented developers. So you guys can have more of an in-depth tech talk next time.
Oh, this has been perfectly in depth, very much in depth enough for me and for the people watching. Thanks for your time, Nadia. I'm sorry if we've had some technical issues in the background. I think the
Cheers.
picture and the sound might have frozen a couple of times without me noticing at first, but I'm going to put the replay out there. I'm going to put it up on YouTube as well. So if anyone's got any questions remaining, pop them in the replay and we'll answer them. I'm going to thank you, Nadia. Thanks for spending.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. Thank you.
We just, for the benefit of people who don't know, I literally met Nadia at a networking event less than a year ago still, bizarrely. And since then, it's just been one of those little conversations that's turned into a load of really big opportunities. And I'm really looking forward to working more with you and Alex and Dean going forwards. Thank you, Nadia, for spending time with us this afternoon. I'm going to wrap it up now. I'm going to remember to look at that camera. The one that looked just before we go had to have the last word. The Jen Ellis said very exciting, and I've got another comment already. Someone else who I'm guessing is Alex, or private user at least, is asking, would you see this as being the only platform to use for the community? Nadia, we've just got a couple of questions. I'm going to bring you back on screen. I'm glad you haven't gone. Would you see this as being the only platform to use for the community, or would you see it being a multitude of platforms that bring the community together? In my opinion, I'll let Nadia have a view on this as well. In my opinion, I see this being a multitude of platforms so that the app becomes the central hub for communication with people. But because of my experience in doing this, we'll still have the multitude of opportunities for people to contact us, because sometimes people need reminding to go and look there for that piece of information. So I'll probably I can't see who actually posted that yet, unfortunately, because it's showing up as private user. But what I see is that I will still need to say to people, probably in the WhatsApp group, probably on email, here's the posts that have been made today on the app. These are the ones that are relevant for you. That's the sort of thing that I'm thinking. Is that sort of how you were thinking about it as well, Nadia? That this would form part of the conversation rather than being the whole of the conversation?
Yeah, I think there will be a gradual shift. And I think the difference with the app compared to the other platforms is that the topics of discussion are segregated in the app. Whereas in,
That's a
WhatsApp
good
groups
call.
and LinkedIn, the conversation is just one big feed. Whereas in the app, I've got a social media query, so I can actually go into that group and I can search a word where I might be looking for the answer to something. So that's really the difference there. And I think over time that will encourage people to go and find the answers to what they need within the app because it's an easy way to do it. It's hard to find the answers to things in WhatsApp and LinkedIn because the search functionality is really limited.
Yeah,
Whereas if you can do it.
I've just brought that up on the screen again so people can
Mhm.
see that this will all actually be segregated out. I was right. My other screen has just said that question came from Alex. So thank you, Alex. So yeah, I think that's something that's always been missing from LinkedIn and indeed Facebook groups. The fact that an app like this will make it much easier to find everything. And actually, if if you only log on once a day or something like that, which I know some people do, it'll make it easy to spot everything that's been going on, or to spot the stuff that's been going on that's actually relevant to you, rather than having to scroll through everything there. I'm going to. We always get a couple of questions at the end. I'm going to let you get on with your afternoon. I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you, Nadia, for joining us. I'll pop you off the screen. I'll pop me back on screen. I'm going to press the button which finishes this, and I'll be live with someone else in the next few days. I'll announce who I'm live with as soon as we've got it all booked. But thank you for spending half an hour or so with us this afternoon. Sorry if there were a couple of challenges technically, but watch the replay, and I'm going to come back with Nadia and Alex and Dean really soon, and we'll make sure that all of those technical hitches